We are mucus-free. 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 We are mucus-free.
Greetings, brothers and sisters, and welcome to the Mucus-free Live podcast. And I am Professor Spira. Let me get my my video hooked up here. What's going on? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the program. And I'm trying something new over here. I got the Instagram now. If you're seeing this on Instagram and you want to have better quality, go to my YouTube channel. You can find that in the bio of my Instagram account. But I'm trying something a little different here. I just got my phone up here looking at the screen. I don't know if that is the best way to do it or if I should just have it facing me. But anyway, we're always trying new things here at Mucus-free Life. And so there's a lot going on. This is, I can't believe we're halfway through July already. And we have some things coming up. So first announcement, in 2 weeks' time, in less than 2 weeks' time now, we have the 4th annual Professor Arnold Ehret Day celebration, where we get together here in Columbus, Ohio, with a bunch of some of the greatest people on the planet, fellow Mucusless Diet Healing System practitioners, people that are really serious about this lifestyle, about making this transformation. And we're going to be here in Columbus, Ohio on July 30th and 31st, 2022. And very happy to have Eli Martyr going to be on the program, Johnny Gonzalez on the program, Takora Tafari, Brother Air, myself, and we will have the Professor Spira and Brother Air Fire Music Project, the duo edition. And so that is going to be off the chain. Really looking forward to that. And hi, DJ. So yeah, this if you the tickets are on sale, and they are the price of the tickets are gonna be raising up very soon. So if you want to get the the early bird tickets, even though it's the early bird pricing, even though we're pretty close to the event, definitely encourage you to do that. Click the link, get the ticket. If you're thinking about, like, oh man, I don't know about the travel, or if you're anywhere near, if you're able to get in a vehicle and drive, so however many 10 hours, if you're up to 12, 13. I've driven, the longest I drove in one time was I drove 14 hours one time to New Orleans. But not saying that you should do that. Maybe break it up over a couple days, but get here. I think some of the airplane tickets have come down just a little bit, so that's good. And of course, if you're nearby, definitely should be here. Get the tickets, are on sale right now. Click that link and join us here in Columbus, Ohio, for the #1 event that celebrates the mucus-free lifestyle, the natural healing. There's nothing else like the Mucusless Diet Healing System. There's a lot of imitators. There's a lot of things that give praise to Arnold Ehret, or kind of, tip their hat to the legacy, but they're not really dealing with the transition diet. They're not dealing with Ehret's brilliant fasting recommendations and protocols. They're not dealing with the information in the Mucusless Diet Healing System book. And of course, we have an annotated, revised, and edited edition, along with a number of other books. That's something else that you want to grab. soon. The prices of the books are going to be going up soon, but just because we have to, because the inflation and all that kind of stuff. And I haven't done it yet. So this is the last opportunity. If you want to get the books, whether they be the paperback editions or the electronic editions or whatever, if you want to get the books at the price that I've pretty much had them at since for the past five years or so, the bundles and the individual books, but it's particularly the bundles, definitely jump on that. All the links for all of that kind of stuff is down below as well. And let's see, we must add, let's see, can I still donate for Eric Day? Is it too late? No, it's not too late to donate. I don't have that link super handy. Maybe if I don't know if Kyrene wants to maybe throw that up there. I know she's probably watching. You could throw the link in the chat for, is this somebody that's on yeah, you're on up in the YouTube chat. You could throw the link for the to donate, the donation link. And I should probably also put the PayPal someplace, put the PayPal link up there as well, because that's a little better. But yeah, definitely, and we would really appreciate the help. We're a little behind this year on that on that aspect of it, and so we would really appreciate, yeah, if you're not able to make it but you'd like to just support what we're doing, a little donation would be very, very much appreciated, most definitely. And so I appreciate you asking about that. And another thing I want to announce is the date on that's wrong on this particular image, but back by popular demand. So this will be June 19th. So ignore this May 31st, because there was a lot of people that couldn't make it on the 31st. I've gotten a lot of emails asking if we could maybe do it again. And so we're going to do it again, at least just one more time. And in 2 days on Tuesday, sign up. The link is all over the place down below in the chat. Sign up and come join us, talking about all the things that I can no longer talk about on these platforms. I have been in threat of being deplatformed and being thrown off of YouTube for censorship, for saying things that have been proven to be true, that have come out later and been true, things that, there's no conspiracy theory over here, just straight calling it how I see it. And opinion is something that is being challenged right now on YouTube. I got my YouTube warning. I had to take down about 25 videos, and they were 25 of some of my favorite videos that I think were some of the best videos. They are available on my what's the name of that platform? I don't even go over the Odyssey. Odyssey. I also have the other one, but I don't go on there too often, but everything automatically uploads there when I upload to YouTube. But so those, you can find those, and eventually I'm going to make a blog post that's going to have all of those banned videos available on one post, so that folks can just go see it. Let's see what's going on. I'm on the Instagram. There's a few people watching over here. And like I said, if you're on Instagram, you want to get the better quality of the live stream, go to the YouTube channel. We're also live on a few places on Facebook and Mucus-free-life.com as a blog post. So that's definitely sign up for that. We're gonna I'm able to get a lot deeper and get really, really nuanced in the live chats that I can't really just get into. I can't go really say exactly what I want to say and all that kind of stuff. It's like on these platforms, I could, but I would be deplatformed. Then there's a lot of people that would not get this important message. And so I had to weigh the pros and cons. Do you leave Facebook behind? Do you leave they try to shut down I had the Facebook, a couple ads running. They've tried to shut down my ads account. They try to shut me down on YouTube. They deprioritize, shadow ban. I've had everything done to me on these platforms, and we're still here. We're still strong. They do as best as they can to suppress without just being just blatantly bold and obvious and really obvious about it. And so it is what it is. That's what we're dealing with here. And so I always appreciate it when you all share the videos, or you share the post, or you well, I don't really do a lot of Twitter. I was gonna say retweet. That's good too. But like reshare, like the stories are really great on Instagram, and the reels, and all that kind of stuff. My reaction reels, reacting to pus and mucus culture, those do fairly well sometimes. I'll look up and there'll be like 20,000 views or something on me just looking at something in disgust. Somebody just really eating something that is just pure death. And that's really the theme this year. It's all about, staying out of the nursing home, staying out of the hospital, staying out of the funeral parlor. People got to take that seriously. We're in a situation where folks are not taking that serious at all. They're just not taking diet, and they think it's a game. They think that just messing around, or we're playing games, that it's all just fun. It's just, we're having fun. We're going and I'm eating my barbecue, doing it. I was just at the gym, and up on the TV screens, they had just the worst food in the world. These food programs, the Food Channel, Man versus Food, where it's just a show about gluttony, where gluttony is just praised. And some other show on another, it was like some infomer, I don't know what it was, but they were it was like this ode to pizza, some ancient pizza pizzeria somewhere, that they were just doing this, like the behind the scenes of this pizzeria. How do they do it? Showing them how to make this all, and then people just looking horrible, just eating, and then talking about how there's so much pride and all this kind of stuff. That's what we need to be doing more of. And we're trying, and it's hard when we don't have the resources. We don't have, Food Network pizzeria type of resources. And you notice that Food Network, unless they've gotten something pretty new, they don't want to touch veganism or plant-based stuff with a 10-foot pole. I don't think there's any vegan programs or any. There's no, they didn't give like Fully Raw Christina's show. She should be on there. Give her a show. And I mean, they would never give us any kind of show on there, but like that, more mainstream kind of thing. But no, they don't want nothing, none of that, nothing at all. If you're not killing animals and drinking rotten fermented things, and they don't, you don't get a chance to be on that kind of environment. So it is what it is. But we're over here trying to, as Brother Air says, stay on our post and really take things to the next level in the environment that's just really tough. This is a tough environment to be doing what we're trying to do. Trying to introduce not just a new diet. It's like a new lifestyle, a whole different culture, and it's different from all these other vegan things out here, these other plant-based things or vegetarian things. It's like this is a movement, and there's enough distinguishing characteristics that makes it very different, but it also makes it so much harder to get folks on board, because you're literally building the foundation of something brand new when you're talking about the mucus-free lifestyle and just that level of consciousness, because it's different from raw foodism. It's different from like a fruitarian concept or a veganism or plant-based or any of those things. Is totally different from that. And that's why we say we're not an ism. The terminology that I prefer, that I like, is practitioner. You are a practitioner of the Mucusless Diet Healing System. If you take that name on, if you take that on, you are a practitioner of Mucusless Diet Healing System, which gives you the latitude to transition in the manner that you need to. So because some people they keep, everybody likes to put themselves in a box. They say, well, I eat no cooked foods, I'm in this box, or I eat no, people want to try to be like, oh, I'm totally mucus free, I'll never have another morsel of mucus in my life, so I'm, it's like, that's not the point of the transition diet at all, is to be in some type of little box. It's about practicing the system, dealing with the ups and the downs. Sometimes you're going through a period where your diet is excellent and is on point, really mucus free. Other times you're going in what we call the mucus lean periods, or just the transitional items or some processed stuff or whatever. And in the other times you're fasting, and other times you have a real good period where you're doing lemon juice and distilled water enemas every day. And, and then sometimes maybe you fall off. And so that's working the system. And that there's nothing else like that out here, working a system. There are food list diets, what I call foods list diets, where it's like they issue you a foods list and you're supposed to just eat everything that's on this list. That doesn't work, but people get into that. What food, what could I eat and not eat? And it's like, practice the system, and you change your physiology to get to the point where you are unable to eat the things that you're not supposed to be eating. That's the idea. Change your physiology. Fundamentally change your physiology. Do that by way of cleaning up your bloodstream. Do that by way of eating mucus-free foods. You're going to clean yourself up. We're always talking about cleanliness. See, that's always been ignored when they're doing their nutritional analysis and counting their calories and looking at their vitamins and their minerals. They don't look at how much toxic waste residue is this item going to leave behind. What's the mucus quotient? That's what I would like to see on the back of a box, instead of this calorie mess, which I'm about to make a video on the ignorance and insanity of the calorie theory very shortly. I already have the PowerPoint presentation created for it. But what would be a lot more useful would be, because the idea of the calorie is they weigh the ash after they put it in a calorie meter and it burns it, and then and the theory is that this ash is the weight of this ash is supposed to represent the amount of energy that this item would create for you. It's total medieval dumb. It's just a terrible, it has zero redeeming qualities. There's nothing redeeming about the calorie theories and the way, and they've only been used for, we're talking 120 years, 110 years, and they're silly. Just the whole thing. So I won't even get into that now. I'm gonna do a whole video on that. But it's just, it's so annoying. But what would be better would be like a mucus quotient, where we figure out, and we get a couple scientists in the room, and they'll be able to, the mucus-free scientists, and they'll quickly be able to tell you how we can determine the amount of mucus residue. Like, okay, here, take a piece of bread, a piece of white bread. If that is put into the body, how much mucus residue will that leave behind, or could that leave behind? Just something, just that would just be more helpful. It's not, you're not going to come up with a perfect quotient, because it's going to be a little different in each person's body, but that would make more sense than this insane calorie mess that's just like kids in a sandbox playing games. It's just such a waste of time. And people try to, they put their whole life on, calorie theory, just get enough calories, get your calories from this, get these calories, do that. It's like, or ignore that entire stupid, false theory and get into something better, but is what it is. And see, we got a question on the floor. Knowing American opulence, we could ask, what would this cause obstruction in the system? Or if you're talking about, the eating of pus and mucus forming foods. And so that's what we're here to talk about today. Avoid ending up in a body bag. Avoid ending up in a body bag. Do not eat these foods ever again. And so we're going to just get into some foods. I probably ought to have some of you in the chat name some foods. And let me see. They got all this stupid extra stuff. So all right, what's up, everybody on the Instagram? So you'll have to tell me how this how this does. But so yeah, we got the first one here, meat. Very true. And we're going to get more specific. So the first one we're going to talk about here today will be the ever American, by way of Germany, the Frankfurter / hot dog. And let's see here. Do this. There we go. Oh yeah. Now this stuff, this is just cancer on a plate. This is just heart attack on a stick, heart attack on a bun. And actually, in one that today when I was at the gym was probably why I've been thinking about this. Along with that pizzeria, they were talking about a bunch of this hot dog stand, and they all these we got gourmet hot dogs with all the. I mean, just look at this mess. I'm 20 years into practicing the Mucusless Diet Healing System, so I'm so divorced. Like, it's hard for me to just at this point even remember back to when I used to eat this stuff like almost every day. I mean, this would be like this, just straight well, it's poisonous to everybody, but the cleaner you are, the quicker the poisonous response happens, to the point where you could be in danger of eating. Like, if I was to eat something like this, I'd be deathly ill and potentially could kill me. Just like, I mean, I'd be better off arsenic or some kind of drinking Clorox bleach or something, than eat this mess. Just pure garbage. And so you want to talk about obstruction. So just imagine this. So you eat this and it goes in, and people want to try to make this argument. Well, we have these digestive, all this digestive fluids, and it does its job. It takes care of the waste and breaks it down. And no, not all the way. It's going to break down a little bit, but there ends up being this residue, this slimy, acidic residue that is uneliminated and remains uneliminated through the intestines and the colon. And over time, that stuff builds up and turns into this incredible acidic waste and this slimy waste that just gets more and more toxic over time. And that becomes a reason why things like colon cancer get popular, and a number of other things. You're talking about just the degeneration of cells by way of acid in the colon, in the intestines, because the human body is not developed on any level to ever mess with any of this. This is, God, I mean, just meat on white bread. I mean, folks are really, just really trying to hurt themselves with this. And I want to be sure to make connections today to, let's see, to where you will end up if you choose to go in this direction, to eat like this. And so so here we go. So if you really want to eat this, if you want to live this lifestyle, the American lifestyle, the the European lifestyle. If you want to do this, okay, that's your choice. That's your decision. It hasn't been outlawed yet. Fine. But then be ready to do that. And don't tell me that this is inevitable. Don't tell me that everybody has to degenerate in age and we're all going to, that this is normal, that we're all going to end up in this kind of state. Because that's historically and culturally, go find some of the historical cultures. There's been books written on it, all the China studies and all this kind of stuff. But you can if you get deep enough into studying the things that fell through the cracks in the history of Africa, South America, there's peoples, not everybody ate like this. This is a European thing over the past, several hundred years. This isn't, and then just got crazy over the, in recent years, but this isn't the reality for all peoples around the world. This is a European heritage to a large extent, and there's others, but this version of it, the wheelchair version, there's plenty of people that first of all, you go back far enough in Africa, they didn't know that, because the Europeans could care less about these Africans that they were coming in to enslave and to murder and rape. So they could show up and see people that look like they're in their 30s or 40s. For all they know, these people could have been 130 years old or 200 years old. They wouldn't have known because they didn't want to ask. They just wanted to take and rape. That was it. And so that's just a discussion about the whole problematic history that has to be totally reanalyzed. But this is where this goes. You go from this, so you live this lifestyle, and I feel like this, because they don't show us this since we've been growing up on Sesame Street and all of the children's programming. We're oriented to that this is normal, that this is all American fun. You go to the baseball game and you have a hot dog with your dad, and you do that that's been normalized. Nobody's making this connection. What I'm talking about now should be on real child programming, on the kind of programming that would be shown to children. There needs to be a connection made between the eating of this filth and where that takes you, where that lands you, and to let people know that this is not normal. You don't have to end up here. And believe me, I got family members that are fighting to get out of this kind of situation. And hey, some people enjoy, and some people enjoy this lifestyle, and it's fine. And this isn't like an ageism. I'm trying to talk bad about the elders. That's the opposite of that, because I know elders that are older than the people here that have more vitality than me, and people they're here, they're out here, but they don't have YouTube channels. They don't care about everybody seeing them and being popular. They feel so good. Could you imagine feeling so good in your body that you don't feel like you have to tell everybody? You just live your life feeling great all the time. Like, could you imagine that? Like, no, people have to put on that fake TikTok, Instagram, Facebook reality where they, smile real quick and hit the post button, and then, go back to that depression behind the scenes, and that kind of thing. And I'm saying, what are they eating in here? They're not feeding these folks fruits and green leafy vegetables in most of these nursing homes. That's not it. That's not what's going on. They're feeding them stuff like this, and even worse versions of this. This would even be a good version for the nursing home food. And so that has to be something that we just drill. That's just drilled in to folks, like this connection. making the connection from the choice, because like the choice is yours. Your next decades of your life is gonna end up in terms of your health is determined right now by the choice you make today on what you put into your body. That's it. And so, good luck with your with your decision making, because get rid of that. If you're on Instagram, you didn't see anything there. But yeah, so that's the first one on the list. Hot dog. And this is, let's see, we got someone mentioned gelatin, yeah, Jello and gummy bears and all that garbage. Yeah, that's just garbage, most definitely. And let's see, he says my son likes him and he knows it will make him sick. Yeah, that's it's rough. We gotta really get people out of eating this mess, this absolute mess. So the next one on the docket is, let me see here. I want to get all this queued up, and let's see. All right, so the next one we're going to talk about is your favorite and mine, the pizza. Oh boy. This is, I don't know if it gets too much worse than this, but you're taking white bread that's soft and soggy usually, and then you put aged pus, better known, cooked aged pus by way of cheese. Then you put feces ridden, decaying tissue cooked in by way of some kind of meat topping. Pepperoni is still probably the most popular. And then don't tell me about your Daya, your vegan Daya pizza. That's no, like, just don't get stuck in that world. If you have it as part of your transition, okay, don't be there too long. Keep it moving. You don't want to be in that situation for a long time. But yeah, this is ugh. And I used to, man, I slammed this stuff. I could eat a whole large pizza by myself a couple times a week. I was in love with pizza, and just this is one of the worst things that you can put in your body. And one of the things that we used to do, I wonder if I could let me see if they have the Pizza Hut grease. Let me see if that's a thing. So what we used to do is, with Pizza Hut, we would literally take and we would even identify it as, we're dabbing off the cancer. This was in the 90s. So you take a paper towel, and we would particularly do this for Pizza Hut pizza. Take a paper towel and you dab it, and you get all of this grease. That, oh man, you get all of that grease, and you dab it, and you end up having this paper towel that's just filled. Let me see if that, yeah, because it's a thing. And the whole thing is, if you, like, why would you want to put this in your body? It's okay, you dab all of this grease off, and you know that it's not good for you. Everybody like dabbing that grease. They're not like, there's nobody saying, oh, all your vitamins are in that grease. You better not, don't waste the grease. You better take it. Like, even people with terrible diets know, like, yeah, let me, but then they also feel like that's doing something positive. Like, yeah, I'm getting this grease off. That's that little bit of fat. That's that grease. I'm helping myself live longer. It's like, no, let's not be delusional here. But yeah, this is I mean, you're talking about all of the heart attack, stroke, cancers, allergy problems, so on and so forth, and then the systemic problems that go from that, which is the deterioration and degeneration of the joints, spinal problems, so on and so forth. It just goes, just keeps on going down from there. But what is that? Pizza. Oh no, that's still Pizza Hut. Never mind. Thought that was a little Caesar thing. Ugh. So the connection here that we want to get in, if you want to live this lifestyle, if you want to live the dabbing off slimy residue from the food that you're eating type of lifestyle, then be ready for this. Be ready for the operating room. Be ready for the day when you wake up gasping for air because you can't breathe, because you can't get the air that you need, because you're totally obstructed from head to toe. Your lymphatic system is at a standstill. Your entire body is like one big traffic jam. You got a pus and mucus jam all throughout your body from head to toe. And then where does that leave you? That leaves you in the hands of these folks, of these fine folks. Now, like we say, we're not talking about emergency situations. There are emergency situations. A lot of emergencies, they even have their origin in pus and mucus eating. Things like automobile accidents have their origins in pus and mucus eating, because there would be no such thing as automobile accidents if we didn't have a society and a nation of pus and mucus eaters. Believe that's a topic for a different day to persuade you to understand how that would work. But it's part of the cycle. It's like you start here and they make you feel good, hey, if everybody's doing it, the power of suggestion. Well, I guess if everybody's doing it, what's the phrase that being healthy is just having the same diseases as everybody around you? So this is normalized to the point where who in their right mind, who in their little pus-filled mind want to have a pizza blanket? This is silliness. And some of these look real. They kind of look real. That actually looks kind of real. Because that's what you need. So the connection needs to be made from slime residue food here to getting the surgery, needing to get the open heart surgery, the cancer surgeries. That's what my mom had, the triple bypass surgery. So, and here we also go where people want to complain and criticize us, saying that lemon juice and distilled water enemas are extreme. They have the gall and the audacity to say, oh, well, you get addicted to that. What about people getting addicted to these open heart surgeries and these colon cancer surgeries and these bladder removal and all this kind of stuff? This equals this. This isn't natural. We already have the cause of human illness. The search has long been over. And if you're still thinking that we're going to find something else out, the secret to human illness and disease, we're going to figure it out. Because heaven forfend, some guy on YouTube tells you what the foundation of human illness is. That can't be real. What kind of, but I'm gonna wait for Dr. Fauci and them to give you the green light that they figured it out. They have the drugs for you. they have the stem cells. Once they can monetize that properly, and they're feeding you the stem cells, and they're giving you all the stuff. I can't say the V word. I don't want to get messed up again, but you know what I'm thinking. So if you want to, go from this, here's part of the system. So they don't outlaw this. This is cool. So all right, so this is acceptable. So you go from this, then eventually you're gonna need this. Get your little open heart surgery, and that's okay. They'll say we're creating jobs. This you're helping the economy by paying $200,000 for these fine people. What you want to do something to help them so that they don't have their job. That's what people would probably, idiots would say to me, and say, these people need to work and they need to eat too. So you got surgeons, which is another, that'd be great. You'd be like, well, go to the pizzeria and be like, oh, what, you got a doctor outfit on or something. They got scrubs, and be like, oh, so what do you do? I'm a surgeon, as they're dabbing the slime off the top of their pizza. And then they're about to go in and do some surgery after they ate some pizza. But that's what you give yourself over to. You give yourself over to that. You give yourself over to this reality. And then if you make it through this, and then, and you can, and believe me, and you want to eat this and then harm that, and then have a child, and it was genetics. It's just genetics. My baby got sick because it was genetics. We passed something down. Or were you eating this and being totally constipated and obstructed, and you pass that on to the child? And then when all is said and done, if you survive this, which a percentage of people don't, but if you survive this, then we have a nice warm bed for you here. When we have activities, we have a chair for you, and we have it. It's all hooked up. The system is hooked up, and it's a system that you did not create for yourself. It's a story that you did not have any control over. So it's like you are living the life of a script that somebody else wrote. And if you like it, that's fine. But if you're like me, and I'm a freedom fighter for physiological liberation, which I think is the liberation of the 21st century, physiological liberation is all that we should be worried about and thinking about, in my opinion. And we live in a time in history. I just been watching all these history of food videos on YouTube, and we live in a time when we, even though we can complain about the quality of the fruit and the vegetables that we have in our stores and that kind of stuff, and we know that we need to transition toward growing it, there's no time in history where we have been able to have more access to the fruits and the fresh fruits and the vegetables that we need to use to heal. That we had something like the nature, along with maybe a few humans, helped to invent the lemon. That and so people try to look at that like, oh, that's hybrid. That's can't do that. Instead of looking at that as a miracle. If you believe in that, if you believe in blessings, that was a blessing. However it came, whatever the circumstance, they don't know. But whatever the circumstances were that turned, that little bitter lemon thing and whatever, and that came together to form the lemon, that is allowing us to do the kind of cleansing that we could only do in the year 2021, 2022, that you couldn't do in 1800 or 1700 or the year 10. See, this is what makes this time remarkable. Not that the level of degeneration is at just such an all-time high that boggles the mind. And the level of consciousness for a number of people is hitting the septic tank levels of consciousness. But for those of us that's plugged in here, for those of us that got the memo, this is a beautiful time. This is a beautiful time to be alive, to be able to go get pineapples regularly, to get oranges and apples regularly, to get and know that they're not perfect, they're not the greatest, and I complain about the quality all the time. But I would take the pineapples that I can have access to now than the ones that cost $8,000 in the 1800s. So we got to see that. We got to understand that necessity is the mother of invention, and this level of sickness, because of this epidemic of eating foods that are diametrically opposed to the human structure and the human spirit and the human body, then we go through this, and then ultimately we end up here. Because we have the task of cleaning ourselves up is so grand, it's nice that there's an equalizer where we do have access, unlike any time in history, no matter where you're located, to fresh fruits and vegetables. Yes, can you elevate? Can you relocate to someplace that has even better fresh fruits and vegetables, that has a better climate? Of course. But that's not an excuse to wait, because you got my friend, Brother Air, who's lived in one of the worst cities in the world, Cincinnati, Ohio, for over 40 years, practicing the Mucusless Diet Healing System. Well, he's lived there longer than that, but he's practiced the Mucusless Diet for over 40 years at the highest of highest levels, fasting for long periods of time, eating nothing but fruit for long periods of time, being mucus-free in a filthy, godforsaken place with terrible pollution. Worst the air. I was surprised. I went to New York and I was like, the air actually isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. The air in Cincinnati is horrible, and he's living right down in that. And so all those excuses about, well, it's the pollution is bad, the fruit and the vegetables are bad, I can't really do this here, I got to wait until I can relocate. That's all BS excuses and folks that aren't ready to really do this work, because this work can be done anywhere. You can be in Alaska, you can be in Canada, you can be in wherever, be in Greenland, you can be anywhere with terrible climates, Russia. You can be anywhere and you can do this diet and this lifestyle to some degree. So I'm just not interested in the excuses. And so this pizza thing, we got it now. If you're transitioning off of it, there's better alternatives. So if you take something like, you could take an almond tortilla, or if you're still eating wheat, like even a wheat tortilla, they're very thin. You could put a little tomato sauce on it, put some oregano, chop up a bunch of vegetables like some onions and green peppers, or some stuff like that. Put that in the oven for about 10 minutes or something at 425, and boom, you got you like something that is gonna help if you have this craving. That's called transition. It's called a transitional meal. Have it with a big raw salad, and that can help deal with this, because the cravings are real. I'm not here to try to tell you like, you gotta, you just use your willpower and never eat this stuff again. You're gonna crave it. If you ever ate it before, it's outside of your control. You just got to accept that. But what you don't have to accept is that you're destined to just eat it the rest of your life, or that it's normal to eat it. Go do an enema, and if that don't work, you're still craving it, then do one of, like I said, a little alternative. You make your own little, let's call it the Spira pizza. There's things that we can do. within the context of the transition diet. That's where the toast comes in. The toast, the number of different things that you can do that we talk about within the context of transition dieting. So that is the pizza. What are we going to talk about next? Have you got anybody in the chat? Any recommendations of what's going on? Kyrene says, yep, mucus cravings are so real. Alternatives really work. That's the key, because there's a lot of kind of purists around that want to try to say, well, like, just never have mucus again, and never do this, and eat nothing but fruit, and all this kind of stuff that doesn't work for most people long term. There's a handful of people that can like pull off being really aggressive from the beginning, and most of those folks aren't totally mucus free, because they're getting into different types of mucus forming items and the nuts and the seeds and that kind of stuff, which in the context of a transition is fine. I always recommend don't eat any kind of nuts or seeds without raisins. I mean, that's just a rule for me. That is a strict rule that to me is super strict, but it is what it is. I mean, that's where we're at. Let's see, pizza is salty, donuts are the sweet cousin. The donut. Yeah, maybe we could look at the donut. Let's me see what we got. So with donuts, let's look at donut, and let's look at the production of donuts, and just straight mucus. And people eat this for breakfast. I mean, that's one of these. And I usually don't even think about a lot of sweets, because I like sweets and I ate a lot of it, but that was never something that was a really hard thing for me to get off of, like to stop eating cakes and things like that. But that for Brother Air, that was hard for him. He was really into donuts and cakes and the Krispy Kremes and all that kind of thing. And it's just straight mucus. There's really not even a whole lot to say. It's just a glump of mucus. You eat it, and that's just there's no fiber. It's not going through very well, and it's leaving behind just a bunch of slimy residue. And, but just this level of manufacture. And so it would make sense that to counteract this kind of manufacture of mucus on this level, that again, we have this beautiful blessing of being able to have access to massive amounts of lemons. And yeah, the price goes up and they can be expensive, but you can find ways to find them cheaper. But the lemons and the limes and oranges and all that stuff, so it makes sense that those things are available because there's got to be some kind of balance. Because when you're creating this industrialized level of processed foods like this, that just cause so much. Let's see some pictures of people eating the donuts. It's like, oh, so innocent. They like to get the kids. This is a weird. What in the world? That's weird. Even for mucus and pus. That's kind of weird. So they got a lot of kids eating. So I guess this is supposed to be this. Wow, there's a lot of pictures of kids eating this donuts. Is that a thing? I just never was into donuts like that. I had those little donut holes from Dunkin', that kind of thing. But then America's finest donut eaters, and it's and so again, it's one of the hardest things really to combat, I found, is because one of the things with pus and mucus eating that they have done, all the marketers and all of the people that just really support this whole way of life, is they have just made it seem wholesome. They've taken something that lands you here, that causes all kinds of issues, but they make it wholesome because they try to put a bunch of kids pus and mucus eating and like, oh, it's cute and wholesome. Look, oh, it's being cut off, isn't it? Like, oh, so cute. So cute. Look at the kids. Look at the kids being wholesome and eating the mucus. And it's like it's almost as if that's one of the worst things that you could do on the planet would be to take something that's as deadly as pus and mucus forming foods and knowing that it is no good for you. There's no, even if you believe in calorie theory and vitamin theory and nutrition, there's no nutrition here. Doesn't matter. It's wholesome. It's just, it's fun. And oh, it's fun. Look at the kid. That's fun with all the crap all over his face from the donut. Look at how fun. Oh, we're gonna poor dog. They don't know any better. We give these foods to the animals so that they have the same diseases that we have. These poor domesticated animals. That boy, these dogs, man, some of these dogs, I know that they just sitting around thinking about their ancestors. I mean, you want to talk about an analysis of domestication, because we live in the era of the happy slave and the domesticated human that is letting go of any liberty that they have. And the fundamental liberty, no matter what society, that wherever you're living in or what, until they take you and force you to eat a certain way or force you to not eat or whatever, you are controlling or should be able to control what you put into your body, what you put into your mouth. That is the greatest of all liberties, to have the liberty to control what you put in your body. And folks are growing up. I mean, this is diabolical. Absolutely diabolical. Just have the little, oh, it's cute. And well, I don't know what kind of nutty thing is this. I mean, and then because folks don't want to realize they think it's all fun and games, it's all cute and it's all innocent and kids and the candy, when again, something that always blows my mind is I'll constantly see parents with children in the produce section, and children are going crazy pointing at the fruit. Like, I want that. Mom, can I have, like, tugging on can I have some of that? And the parent will look over and they, for some stupid reason, here's a child that wants fruit, that wants some fresh fruit. There's nothing fresh in the basket at all. And the parents say, oh no, come on. And literally walk over and get candy bar instead of the fruit that the child was pointing at. See, there's a reason. See, what I'm trying to tell you is this doesn't happen on its own. This is not normal. This is the result of eating that from child. You eat like this, as innocent as you want to think it is, she turns into this person that then ends up turning in to her. And it doesn't have to be like that, because it could be more like this. You could be in your 70s and look like Chef Babette, who was one of our speakers last year at the Eric Day celebration. Because believe me, some of the people, there's a number, some of these folks are 80 years old. Some of these people in their 70s right here. Some of these people in this picture right here are the same age as this woman right here in this picture. This woman right here has been eating fruits and green leafy vegetables since, I forget her age, what the age she mentioned, like 40 years old or in her late 30s, as her story goes, where she read the Mucusless Diet Healing System book, a couple other books, and just totally changed her lifestyle. And I'm going to be getting some clips out from last year. I got really held up with that. But yeah, so she's in her 70s, and you can go on her Instagram, and she she does amazing workouts. She's doing all these things, and she's like lifting weights and doing these body kind of workouts and this kind of stuff. So the choice is yours, because she hasn't been eating this for the past 30 years, 40 years, or however long. She hasn't been eating this. So this is what the result is. You can be in your 70s, and it's like, and no one would know unless you tell them, or so the choice is yours. Like, because people really, this is really hard for people. They really have a hard time with this decision. They're like, man, but I love this. I love the, I don't know if I could stop eating meat. I love this, the donuts, and I'll crave the ice cream so much. That's fine. But you got a decision to make, because there is autonomy to a certain degree. And there are things that you can do to put your body in a natural state where you no longer crave this. There's nothing about any of this that looks good to me at all. There's not one of these. I don't want no vegan version of it. I don't want nothing to do with any donut. No. But it wasn't always like that. I had to transition my body to get to that. So the choice is yours. You can do this and end up here, or you can eat fruits and green leafy vegetables and be in your 70s and your 80s with more energy and vitality, looking younger than people half your age. The choice is yours, and that is a very important message to get over, that the choice is yours. People think they don't have a choice. People think that it's all genetics, it's all this, or it's just, it's normal, just eating all the mess. The choice is yours. So what's next? What are we going to talk about next? We're going to talk about one of my favorite and yours. So in this, we're just going to put a whole group of foods together, because I love attacking McDoo-doos. And so just add everything they have to the list. There's nothing here for transitional purposes. There's no McDonald's. Like, McDonald's would be something that you just stop. We're not going to use that to transit. If you have to use some kind of fast food for transitioning, then I'd rather see you at like Taco Hell or something. You can veganize something, but there's nothing here. And there's a video that you might enjoy that's on the channel. I went in a drive-through at a McDonald's, and this was like at the height of the COVID stuff. And I was just having some fun. But then I found out they weren't even selling salads anymore. They had stopped selling salads. So they would still sell all this, but they had stopped selling salads. And then if you want some fruit, they have bags of old apples that they, like, chopped up apples, put all kinds of chemicals on them to preserve them, put them in a bag, and then that's your McDonald's fruit. So this is on the list of, you just stopped it. You just gotta stop this. And if you have a craving for this, go do a lemon juice and distilled water enema. And I saw someone was asking about enema in a chat, or not on the Instagram. And so I got a video. If you go to my YouTube channel, look up lemon juice enema, and we have a how-to video that's very comprehensive on how to do a lemon juice and distilled water enema. And you're going to want to do that. And also, like I said, but earlier, we got a free event where I'm going to talk about a lot of that kind of stuff, how you eliminate the mucoid plaque, how you eliminate the poison. Again, ignore this May 31st by popular demand. We're doing it on the 19th, and was it 2 days? And on Tuesday, July 19th, we're going to do the remove mucoid plaque. Is also a different title. I should upload the new one. But remove mucoid plaque, burn fat, and create godlike immunity eating mucus-free. Free event. The link to that is down below. Check that out. But here we go again. here we go again. Like I have to do it again, so you know, so we can go from this, go from, you know, we're having fun. We're having fun here. It's just all American goodness. Come, please, veggie burgers at McDonald's, please, please leave all that mess alone. So, and here's our friend, our good friend Nick Ocado. I did a video on him before. So we're gonna go from this again. We'll end up back here again, getting the double bypass surgery. I mean, I'm really imagine that, like, they cut, they have to like cut you open, take a thing, open up your chest, and then take instruments and go and dig around, and then and if then remove, if they have to remove some plaquing or whatever they do in there, and cut things up and you know, bypass and just all the surgery things that they do. Then they gotta put you back together. They put some clamps on you, staple you together, these big old staples, and then send you to the hospital room to sit and hang out for a while. Oh, here we go. Yeah. This my mom, you know, like I said, I went through this. Saw my mom, triple bypass surgery, and then it's like, you know, had that big old wound. So we just cut right here. So you mean to tell me lemon juice, if a lemon juice, a distilled water enema could help you avoid this, that would be more, oh, you can't see it, that would be more extreme. A little lemon juice, just to loosen up all the slime that was created when you ate all this years ago. You put a little lemon juice and some water together, you put it up your colon, loosen that up so that the acids don't destroy your cells, so that you don't end up with the cancer, so that you don't end up with systemic acidosis all through your body, eating away at other organs and glands, and creating all the imbalances that people blame nutrition on, when it's your obstruction and your constipation creating the imbalances, creating the pain and the suffering and the allergies and the pain in your stomach and this and that. It's a crime that everybody doesn't know this. That it's just, that should just be automatic connection between this and that. So we'll go that. So see, look at this. It's like we got so much deprogramming to do. See this, and then ends up here. Not here. You can't eat this and be in your 70s and 80s like that. This is your. I'm a fortune teller. Whoa. I can tell your future. I can look at what you're eating, and I can look at your skin, and I can tell you all about what's happening, where you're going, your likelihood of where this thing is going to end up. I can tell you exactly what's happening. And I'm saying it doesn't have to be like this. This is a choice. Sickness is a choice in most cases. Sickness is a choice. At some point, it was a choice. Even if you pass disease down, you made a choice to do that by the way that you ate. And it's not your fault, because that was passed down to you from the way that your parents ate and your parents' parents and so on and so forth. So it's not a sit around and blame yourself and feel sorry for yourself kind of thing. It's just about a take responsibility and let's get to work thing. Take responsibility for the filth that you have put into your body and that your ancestors put, and do something about it. That's all. That's what it is. And so, and this is what I mean by we got work to do again with the kids. Happy Meal. Nothing more diabolical than get them while they're young. They don't know. They don't know any better. They have no clue. Get them while they're young. Get them while they're young. Absolutely diabolical. Oh, Lord. Boy cries tears of joy after eating McDonald's for the first time since lockdown began. You see what we dealing with here? This is where the war comes from. The murder comes from, the pain and the suffering, where the depression comes from. It's not, don't blame everything on genetics. It's not one bad apple that decided to go shoot up whatever. It's when you're eating like this from being really young. What's left to do? Some folks are going to eat like this and they'll grow up and they'll go get the factory job or they'll do that kind of stuff. Some of these folks are going to eat like this and they're going to end up taking a machine gun into a school and blowing folks away, then turning the gun on themselves or running at a bunch of, cops and, suicide by cops. You can't have it both ways. But if there's one thing that I make it my mission to dispel and take the veil off, is that there's anything innocent about any of this, that there's anything wholesome about any of this. This is evil. When you know what we know, and you know how easy it is to avoid chronic illness, if you can avoid it, like we can talk about healing later, because that if you're already there and you're in a condition where we need to heal, that's a different discussion. Right now, I'm talking about prevent, which no one likes to talk about. People don't care until they're sick already. But this is just straight evil. I'm sorry. Like I don't like throw that word around, but you're taking something that lands people lands people here and here, and you're just making it so wholesome and cute and acceptable and normalized when it couldn't be further from that. And this is what we're dealing with, what we're up against. This is why it's so hard. And this is why I tell you, don't be hard on yourself, because we all came up with this. We all came up. Unless you're one of the children of one of the parents that's watching them, that I know there's actually kids that watch my videos, their parents show, then you're blessed. But the rest of us, we came up with this. And yes, it's hard to deprogram because we get away from that. We forget. And this is the kind of stuff that I sit and contemplate, which is what helped me deprogram. To sit and my memory is decent. And so I remember those old commercials and the content that we were consuming. The way, the portrayal, the way that made you feel. Watching these commercials, watching these kids, wanting the toy, playing the Monopoly, you might win some money. I remember all of that. Get your little toy. What kind of mess is? Here's a cancer burger for a child with a little trinket. That's like some drug lord stuff. Get the famous people on board. We get whoever's famous. We'll get them to promote the madness. And so these connections have to be made on a mass scale, because one of my missions is for everybody to know that they have a choice. Believe me, I'm not getting it. You're not going to get everybody to stop eating the mess. But once somebody has you've reconstructed their brain circuitry by whatever means necessary, however it happens, but they see something, they're exposed to something that changes that part in them to where they have a realization that they have control, that they have a realization that they can dictate the future of their health. They can dictate how fast they age. Once that's opened up, now they know that they have a choice. And now it's on them. Now we can't blame it on the brainwashing and the orientation and the marketing and all that, because the exposure has been there. Now they can resist and say, "Oh no, that's crazy. I'm gonna trust the science and trust Fauci and Biden. He's the picture of health in his old age and the leader of the great nation and all whatever lies that people want to tell themselves." But at least they had that opportunity. They had that chance to see that it didn't have to be like that. That you did have a choice, and that's that's all. That's what I'm trying to get to, is that choice, making sure you understand that learning how to control what you put in your mouth is everything. And whether I encourage you to get into the Mucusless Diet Healing System, but if it's something else, it's something else. But whatever it is, you have a choice. So if you want to play this game and you want to think that it's acceptable and that it's fun, and that makes me think of the next item up for bid. How about milk? What about that? And yet again, milk drinking, and what do we have? Children. Pictures of children trying to be cute and wholesome, drinking pus, drinking cow piss, homogenized, processed liquid that originally in its raw state was meant for a 120-pound baby cow. But some diabolical idiot was like, you know what? We could create enslavement camps for animals, take their milk on a mass scale, convince people that you need to drink this mess for nutritional purposes, and we'll make a lot of money. And that's exactly what they did. Their business plan, they did everything perfect on that level. Get people, there wasn't no drinking milk with the cereal. I mean, that's new. That, thanks Kellogg for that. This cereal concept. Take little toasted wheat things, and add milk to it, and you're gonna drink that. You're gonna eat that in the morning? Ugh. But I don't know about that. Okay. And so again, leaving behind. Now watch this. What about the milk acne? Let's see. Let's do the before and after. And this isn't even really changing their diet. I'm talk about this a little bit on Tuesday. But we got all these people that just getting off of milk, and their skin gets better. The acne's going away. And so again, if you drink, let's go through it. Let's go through it again, because we gotta be repetitious with it to get it to stick. You drink this, then you end up here, then your next stop will be here, the nursing home or the hospice facility, and then ultimately we'll end up in this situation where your body. When we say what's the most important thing in your life, some of these folks talk about protein. Just did a video on the idiocy of the protein theory. When you're laying there toward the end of life, after all of the surgeries, after all of the medications and the pills, that's a result from living like this from drinking and eating things that cause constipation in the body that were never designed and meant for human consumption. Because of this, you end up here. And if you're lucky, you have a loved one there to hold your hand while you do what? You're trying to breathe. You're trying to breathe air. You're not trying to eat liver king. You're not trying to take B12 shots. You're not trying to drink Ensure and Slim Fast. You're not trying to smoke weed and eat donuts and McDonald's. At the very end, you are trying to breathe. Why can't you breathe? You can't breathe because your body is constipated from head to toe, acidic from head to toe. The acids are taking over. The pus and the mucus are taking over. Your lymphatic system hasn't moved properly in decades. And now your body is having trouble getting the oxygen that it needs to clean the blood enough to keep you alive. And people want to blame everything else. They say, "Oh, you're deficient. Make sure we're omnivores, we're carnivores, we're supposed to eat all of this stuff." And where you end up? Gasping for what? Gasping for cheese bagel? You're gasping for air. And maybe they have a little oxygen there for you. If it gets bad enough, what do? They stick a pipe down your throat to do what? To help you breathe. Or if it's real bad, or you're one of these people that you love smoking, and I used to smoke, what are they going to do? They put a little tube right here. Stick a little tube down your throat. Help you breathe that way. All of this is preventable, ladies and gentlemen. That's the point. But as long as we have this lackadaisical, soft perspective about how respectable this is, how normal this is, that this is ever okay, as long as there's any bit of that left in one's consciousness, the inevitability of this reality is set in stone. But what if this didn't have to go down like that? What if you could live as an elder, as elders have lived in cleaner nations and societies than us, where they don't end up in, it's not normal for them to end up in a wheelchair or end up in unable to move or walk or be immobile, where the last years of their life aren't pain and suffering and agony. I mean, can you imagine? Is that even possible? When you're coming from a reality of this, is it possible to imagine an ageless, that where you turn off the aging process to such an extent to where instead of looking like that, you're looking like that at the same age? But as long as this doesn't look crazy to you, as long as this doesn't look like a horror movie, people say, "Oh yeah, you're so intense," and and these are just good people and just people trying to just live their lives and be good. I'm saying I want people to have a choice. If people know that the result of this, like the Surgeon General warning they put on cigarettes, cigarettes may cause cancer and lung cancer and whatever. People know that it's not today. Very few people are going, it's not like that with the weed. People think that that's real healthy. But with the cigarettes and the tobacco and all the mess they put in there, people know that's not nutritious. You're not getting your protein smoking your cigarette and your cigar. You're not getting the nutrients you need, or elonging your life in some kind of way. People know that. People need to know that a glass of milk is like 10 times worse than the filthiest cigarette you could find. Yeah, I said it. Pus and mucus, and especially pus, is always going to be worse because it's the mother of all of it. You take the pus out of your diet and you clean yourself up. Tell me how much tobacco smoke you want to put in your lungs. You don't want to. There's no craving for that. You don't want that. You don't want tobacco smoke up in you after you clean yourself up. As you say, there are people that consume mucus and are genetically sculpted. I don't know if you're talking about like the muscle people and that kind of, but the thing is, well, first we had to look at the longevity of I wonder if there's any pictures of the let's see that wasn't great. Let's see there. I need to find, that's something I need to find, is like the find like the aging bodybuilders that don't do too well in old age. Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna have to, because I've seen them before, but there's like that one with Arnold Schwarzenegger where he's like looking like pretty bad and he think he had a bunch of issues and guess he went vegan for a few days or something. I don't know. I don't know if I doubt he's still vegan, but who knows? I don't know. You could leave it in the chat if you know. But yeah, but it doesn't last. It's like, yeah, there's some people that, again, looks aren't the internal health all the time. So there's some people that can get away with eating horribly and they're going to look good for a while, but oftentimes that does not end well. That gets pretty bad, toward the end. There's a lot of folks in our favorite athletes. We look at the average let's see, average age of, what's this? The average age. The average age of football, like a football player. We see this because we lionize these are great gladiators, and what these folks are living in, 60 years old. Is that the average age? They say NFL players who died during that, the average age of 59 years old. Be a professional. I played football for 6 years and I got plenty of probably little mild concussions and just messed my body up good. I'm glad I had the Mucusless diet, because before I started the Mucusless diet, I couldn't do this with my hand. I was 18, 19 years old, and my hand, these right here, was always swollen, and it was hard to open my hand all the way up. And I was 18 years old because I'd played football for 6 years. So I know what that does to the body. And so this doesn't surprise me at all. To play, to be like, because people assume that you're the highest level of health when you're an athlete, because that's part of that mythos. That's part of the mythology. That's part of all the, they're these great athletes. They're super healthy, aren't they? Folks are dying in their 50s. Some of them are having really bad, like that's a whole thing that you could study and get into with the different head traumas. And I mean, I've felt myself go through eliminations and like head trauma type of eliminations during fasts and things that I know had come from injuries that I'd sustained when playing football. I felt it. There's things I could just, it's hard to describe it, but because you're healing yourself from things that never healed when you go down this path and you're cleaning yourself out and you're fasting the right way. But and then baseball is you get a little, I mean, and think about baseball, these guys, I mean, you're not, what are you doing? You run, you hitting the ball, if you can get hit with the ball, you're going to get hurt that way, but you're not having many car crashes every play. These folks, so you live a little longer. So they're at baseball average age was a 67 years old, 66. Largest cause of death for football players was heart disease. So I wouldn't be looking to the athletes as if they're, but because they have some physical attributes and physical talent for a fairly small period of their life. Like they said, if you get into the actual average age of a football player, they're, by the time you're 30 years old, if you get that far, like I read somewhere, like you play for like 4 years or something, and then you retire. Most of them are done, but definitely by the age of 30, there's not a whole lot of football players that's too much older than that. And it's it. And then you got from 30, if say you're lucky enough to get to 30 and you retire, and then you have 25 years of life left, and that's it. Or if you made different decisions, you could have had 50 years of life left, or 60 years, or who knows how much life left if you'd have went down a different path. But you chose the heart attack path. And that's okay, because you imagine the life of a professional, somebody that became a professional athlete, particularly like in football. These folk, if you were at that level, like this, as hard as it is to actually get to that professional level, that meant you were a star since like pee-wee football, or like at least high school. So you had people just flooding you with praise since you can remember. And you go through that in high school. Just think about what that does to your mind, to have to your name in lights all the time. Every people wanting to always give you everything. That kind of, that whole kind of thing. Imagine what that does to your mind. And then all of a sudden you retire, and then it all goes away. No more rah for you. And then you start to have the chronic migraine headaches. You start to, and you have joint issues. You have the knee replacement surgeries, the shoulder surgeries, and all of that stuff that's normal. And then you end up with some heart disease, and maybe you get a triple bypass. Maybe you don't even get a chance to have surgery because you die of the heart attack. You're not able to survive through it. Is it worth it is the question. In the long run, was it worth it? Was it worth it if you could be a star? If you could be the object of everybody's affection, your ego stroked every day, people in love with you around the world, is it worth it that you trade in longevity? I'd rather nobody know who I am, and I be by myself, locked up in a cabin with some fruit and vegetables and an enema bag into my hundreds. I would take that over anybody knowing who I am in any kind of, and I couldn't say that 30 years when I was young. I wanted to be famous and entertainer and famous musician and go on tour and, and do all that kind of stuff. That might still happen, but now we're bringing the message of the Mucusless Diet Healing System with us. But back then it was an ego thing. You want to be famous for the ego. And I thought about that a lot when, because growing up, I was a huge Michael Jackson fan. And you can find videos of me dancing to Billie Jean and doing the moonwalk and this kind of stuff. And was this huge Michael Jackson fan. And, Michael died, what was he, 50 or 54 or whatever he was when he passed away. The propofol thing. And, so you had this tortured life, the situation where when you're on stage, it's orgasmic, just the love, the adulation, the screaming, just every bit of your ego is just just massage, just like taking your ego and just massage. It's like a 24-hour massage of the ego constantly. And you're just in, you're in bliss on that. But then all of a sudden that's empty. And you start feeling depressed, and then you start to see where and I've watched a lot of these like stories of famous people and the rise and fall of people, and the true Hollywood story, and what's the music one, behind the scenes, or where are they now, and all that kind of stuff. And for it is it worth it for that glory of the moment, that moment of bliss, of everybody screaming your name, of everybody reaching out, trying to touch your garment, trying to treat you like God, but you die like I was gonna say a beggar, a sick person. You die like not like a king. Is it worth it, is the question. And that's something I've pondered over the years a lot, because I come from, like I said, I came from wanting that at one time in my life, wanting to just seeing those videos, especially of Michael Jackson, and just people just screaming at him, and just and trying to touch him and all this kind of stuff. And and people crying. You got grown men in the audience crying. This dude's on stage, like, dude, there's people in the audience crying. Like, what is this? That messed with me when I was young. I'm like, what the hell is this? What do I got to do that? That's what I wanted. And I got a taste of that when I was in 4th grade. And that's the video that's up. You can find it way deep on the channel somewhere. When I was in 4th grade, I danced to Billie Jean. I used to dance all the time. Like, I'd dance and watch, and never had any kind of training. I just watch and try to mimic what I was seeing. And I did Billie Jean in the talent show at my elementary school. And when I came out on stage, people screamed and went crazy. And I'd never felt nothing like that before. That was I was like, that was like some cocaine. I was hooked on that for a minute, like that. Like, what is this emotion? You come out on stage and people are legitimately screaming. What? And you could try to make a living, like, and then you want to chase that. And that's the pop lifestyle. Now, I once I got into music, I chose the route of I got into the art of music making, and left behind like a pop thing, and I'm glad I did, because that was trading. That goes in line with my diet, because you trade momentary bliss for longevity. Because we can go, and there's a lot of jazz musicians that's in their 70s and 80s, some of the great luminaries, the ones that didn't eat too poorly, that lasted to be, in their 80s. And, you had Sonny Rollins for a while. I think he stopped playing, but it was in his 80s. And Charles Lloyd, who practiced the Mucusless Diet Healing Systems, in his 80s, he still tours the world playing music on a higher level, professional level. One of the few things that you can do, and you get better and better as you get older. Jazz, the art of jazz music, just one of the few things that you can legitimately grow and get better and better, sounding better. If you're playing funk music and that's it, that doesn't always happen. If that's all if you're like funk or blues kind of, that doesn't always go down like that. But with the art, the jazz, particularly the art of jazz, that's the few forms that I know that you can sound better at the age of 85 than you did when you were 25 or when you were 35, because the growth is a whole different spirit, a whole different type of vibration that comes into play, and that's another topic. And I'll start losing people. Sometimes I know I lose folks when I start getting into talking about music and that. But to me, that's like, if there is any kind of shortcut or anything in terms of because there really is no shortcuts. But if there's something that you can use to help you speed up your process and your progress, then doing what you're passionate about. And if you can get into music, because I think we all should be playing some kind of music, and and then there's those of us that choose to do it on a professional level, but everybody in the community is supposed to be able to play some drums and sing, or just clap on beat, please, 2 and 4, please. They at least should be able to do that, but culturally, but we're in a bad circumstance in some case. Yeah, Aqua, yeah, good, yeah. Herbie, man, he's still out here. I just saw him perform a few years ago, and he's still on tour, going around playing at the highest level. I mean, just a wizard. These are like wizards at that age, these musicians. And you can't, and it's not the same. I can't say that about the aging, a lot of the aging rappers, some of the older ones. It was like from the 80s. Like I don't see that kind of growth. Looking at them performing later, where if they didn't get into something like the jazz, just certain art forms that allow you to keep growing and in the music space. And there's certain forms of music that you can plug into that's going to open you up, open your body, mind, and spirit up, remove obstruction, mental obstruction. That's what I love about jazz. There's a certain jazz, if you listen to like music of something like John Coltrane and the Pharoah Sanders, and they call it spiritual jazz. Some people call it that. But I mean, that stuff removes obstruction. You remove obstruction from your whole mind. And so, yeah. So the choice is yours. What are you, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Let's see. I guess we'll do, I'm gonna do one of these, we got the raw meat diet, people. That's definitely something that you do not eat these foods ever again. So we got our raw meat folks, and and they folks that just swear by, they're just so healthy, eating just raw meat and honey, or not honey, but butter and an egg. Let's see, Liver King. I figured he would show up on here somewhere. I guess he, there's this guy. I think I talked about him in a video before. The guy that's eaten nothing but raw meat for 5 years. I'm sure he's still plugging along strong. And it confuses people because they're like, well, these guys ate like that and they didn't die. And it's like, well, the body, one of the reasons or the things that can show you how false all nutritional theories are is the fact that we do have all these different people that eat all these different ways and don't die immediately. That doesn't mean you were supposed to eat all these different ways, but you could have somebody that eats nothing but raw meat, somebody else that eats nothing but potato chips and junk food, and then somebody else that eats nothing but McDonald's, and somebody else that eats nothing but fruit. There's all of that is within the context of what's possible. The question is, what are we supposed to be doing? Not just because the body can tolerate it, because your ancestors ate the wrong foods for generations and your body is filthy enough to be able to tolerate this food, doesn't mean that you're supposed to eat it. But this doesn't end well. Let's see. I have no clue what I'm gonna see here. Colon cancer images. I was like, I don't know what. Okay, this is just all pictures. But like I said, the choice is yours. You can run, because again, too, it's like you're running on stip. That's how there's people that lived on heroin for a lot, that ate very little. that would, what nutrition are they getting? Well, you know, they're heroin or the cocaine folks, and folks that eat very little, but they're being stimulated by poisonous chemicals. I draw that comparison to this type of thing. You're being you know, you're being stimulated on the highest of levels, and so yeah, you can do it, but you know, I wouldn't rule this part out. You know, you know, just yeah, you can do that, and the people, they say they feel great, and you can, if your body, there's our buddy, and they they just I just saw a thing on Joe Rogan where Joe Rogan was like, man, this dude's on PEDs, you know, and the guy says, no, I don't. All I do is eat the liver and all the carnivore meat and all the stuff, and you know, I don't take any supplements and whatever. And what ends up happening to these kind of guys is they all of a sudden they disappear off of the airways. You don't see them. You'd be like, dang, what happened to where's Liver King at? You know, he hadn't posted anything in a long time, you know, and then you find out like, oh, we got terminal, some kind of cancer, some kind of colon thing, some kind of stuff like that. So you get all of this meat and all just getting all constipated in the intestines, and sooner or later there's going to be problems. Not immediately. Like I said, you can do crack cocaine for a while, and people do. I don't advise it. I'm not talking about, you know, I don't advise it, but you don't die immediately. Most people don't OD on crack the first year or the first few times they do it. Now these days, you don't know what you're getting into, and the fentanyl and stuff being cut with all kinds of stuff. It's, you know, yeah, we got problems. But what about these surgeries where we see colon surgery? Ooh. Yeah. So again, we got choices. So yeah, you can, hey, and for the people that were like raw, there's this thing of raw vegans, people that were trying to be raw vegan and raw fruitarian, and they did absolutely no transition. It's like even if they read the Mucusless Diet book, they skipped over transition diet sections. They tried to eat nothing but fruit, nothing but whatever for really long periods of time. And they felt good for a while. And then they got to a point where they felt horrible. Then instead of, maybe you should have some steamed broccoli or some steamed cabbage or some sauteed kale or some collard greens or some baked acorn squash or baked spaghetti squash, or Spirit's pizza or something like that. Instead of that, since raw is law, we'll just switch over to eating raw meat. We'll never eat any fruit again. Fruit's now the devil, and we'll eat the raw meat, and we'll get into the butter. And like, oh wow, I feel good, feel great. Veganism doesn't work. This works. It's, you know, we're gonna see a lot more of that. Unfortunately, that's not going anywhere right now. But you know, we're the next couple years, my prediction is we're gonna see more and more of the raw people that were real strict adherents and proponents of raw foodism. We're gonna see them falling to then be the greatest antagonists of plant-based eating and fasting and fruit dieting or whatever. They're going to do that switch up instead of just being quiet, instead of just being like, all right, let me just shut my mouth and just live my life. And I'm going to go back. I'm going to eat this crap and just, you know, I want to tell the world, you know, I'll go to, I want to warn them, that I did this for several years and it didn't work for me. And even though it might influence a whole bunch of people to do it, now I'm saying don't. My message is shut up now, with all due respect. Shut up, because now you're getting into that evil category of you're going to be leading people into their colon surgeries and into the open heart surgeries. Now you're leading people back down that type of road. Whereas instead of that, you could have just led them toward a transition, let them know that it's okay to eat cooked vegetables. It's okay to eat cooked vegetables. It's okay to even eat some cooked, processed vegan foods from time to time for transitional purposes if you're craving it and you need it. There's a method to the transition, but people act like there is. I'm the only one out here talking transition like this for years. And we can go back 15 years to the original radio show. We're talking about the same thing. It's the same message. Transition, transition, transition. And people are so, I don't know what it is. I don't know why people don't want to deal with the transition. And maybe you could help explain it to me. I don't know what it is about the extremism of the absolutes that make people just want to just totally disregard transition methodology that has been shown and proven to work over a long period of time, the longevity. And instead, we want the extremes. Oh, here's this guy. God, it just looks like he's eating some feces. People rotten, into the rotten meat. There's not enough to just have it raw. Now we got to have the rotten stuff. It's good for your biome, your stomach. This make up so much mess. When this thing is just so much simpler than this. When it's just eat fruits and green leafy vegetables and the transitional stuff. And but I mean, you can look at a lot of these folks. It's just the spirit. It's like, man, I don't care if I ate like that and I can jump tall buildings with a single bound or whatever you supposed to, they think you're supposed to do, and all this working out and all this kind of stuff. It's like, man, this spirit is so compromised and disheveled. It's like, man, I don't want none of that. I'll take, I'll take if I'm going through a little elimination and I got some fatigue and I need to lay down and for a minute, or I need to take a nap, or I need to take it easy or something, or if I'm fast, I'll stick with that. I don't need to prove nothing to nobody. You're trying to run all kinds of whatever these folks are doing with the Wait a minute. I thought he didn't take no supplements. What's all that? Thought this was 100% natural. What's this? What's that crap back there? That looks like supplements to me. Whey protein. Do you need more protein, bro? This is like this. He's like the poster boy of bro nutrition. I call it it's like the bro nutrition. It's like, yeah, bro, get your raw meat, bro. Get this raw meat, man, and we're gonna go work out, bro. I'm getting all my protein, bro. Just absolute insanity. Absolute insanity. Yeah, he said, poop smell horrific. Yeah. I mean, you're talking about death. You have a bowel movement and it's just death coming out. That's what these folks are into, is that type of death, just that toxicity, just oozing. It's like there ain't nothing attractive. There's people, because again, we're in this stage in humanity. It's like there's levels of degeneracy. That's what folks are attracted to that. So hey, they want to be, man, he's a real man, right? That's what they try to, they want to try to say, oh, the vegans are all small and frail, and I'm like, all right, I can beat on my chest too. It doesn't break, I'm not like, you know what I mean? It's well, yeah, this frail and that's not it. But that's what they think we're all like that. All of us. Oh, you're not eating your meat and your protein, and so you're frail, and you're not, whatever. And it's like, man, and people are attracted to that. They want to, they want to make him their guru and go sit at the feet of the king, of the liver king, and and have him bless them with his wisdom of conquering the dead animal flesh lifestyle. How can I too master eating the dead animal, and man, how can I master it? And it's a sad situation that we're in, but it is what it is. How many folks is gonna see this guy and try this out, and some people will check it out and they'll get out soon enough, but there's gonna be other people that eat themselves right into this, right into the colon cancer, the gastritis, and all the inflammation, chronic inflammation of the intestines and the colon, and this whole thing. And they definitely don't have nothing for you. And I've went on a couple of these secretly, a couple of these little forums where people do that, or some of the ex folks that used to be fruit eaters, and they're the raw couldn't, that basically mostly people that never transitioned, and just to see them talking and about it, and some of them, there's this cycle that I actually see with that, where a lot of they start off kind of just so happy that they're free and they're eating meat again, and they're going to restaurants again, and everything is so great. But then, like a couple months later, they start saying like, yeah, so I still feel pretty good, but my bowel movement's really smelly, and I'm starting to get acid reflux again, and I'm feeling the acid in my throat, and my breath is really bad again, and my body odor kind of came back, and it's like this list of things, but I feel great. It's better than when I was vegan. It's like, and then these little mental games when if you got a person like that that's real. There are things in the Mucusless Diet book and vegetarian recommendations if you need it. And so it's, but again, that level, that would require reading and analyzing and understanding the Mucusless Diet Healing System on a certain level. And that's not what people do. And it was, yeah, Emo says, I love peace in my temple, not death and chaos consuming the fear energy of others. Yeah. That's, your stomach, is your body a breeding ground for disease and a graveyard, or is it a temple of peace and cleansing and transformation and tranquility? Well, I like how the colon surgery, we see the professionals. So, so if you want to go down this road, that's fine, because they have, you're putting people to work. You're going to help put these people to work, and because these folks they're more than happy to cut on you and do that kind of thing. They're happy to do it, and so I guess that's good. I guess that's because as long as this is here, there will always be a need for these folks. These folks will always have a job in our society, they will always have a job, because this is the logical conclusion. There's a reason you're able to create these institutions. You know the kind of money it takes to create this deep of an institution like this. You gotta have a system where you're expecting almost everybody to come through sooner or later. At some point, everybody's gonna come through and give you their tithes, give you their money. So for me, and what we're doing here, like, this is the kind of stuff I've always just been very connected to the alternative, because it can be a bumpy road. I'm not saying that this is easy, that you're always going to feel great, that everything is beautiful all the time on this road. I can tell you it's way better than the alternative. For me, it has been. My worst day on the Mucusless Diet Healing System was like my average day. It was like an average day before, when I was just eating everything. But for me, it's the consciousness. If you want to be awake, we can't use the word. The word woke has been disheveled and raped, and is now impotent. So now we can just say awake, consciously. I mean, consciousness being awake. Then that there's a chance that you don't have to end up here and end up in these conditions, especially at a younger age than you otherwise would have needed to. My father's, he's 80, 81, 82, and he's running around and traveling and doing work and dancing and partying, and he grew up on an island where he had to eat mostly fruit, because that was what was there. There wasn't McDonald's for the first 18 years of his life. He's eating fruit, a lot of fruit. And so, yeah, he adds meat here and there and that kind of stuff, but it's a whole different world when you're talking about the majority of your diet. Even if you're eating a little bit of meat once a week, or once a couple times a month or something, or some kind of gruel, some kind of mucus sludge or something, pudding or something, but most of what you're eating is fruit. That's a whole different reality than the pizza world. And so that's something that's interesting to me, that I observe, that it's interesting. But that's the kind of analysis you have to do. Trace your stomach, the history of your stomach, because that tells the story. The history of your stomach and your ancestors, because it's also going to help you with your transition, because that's going to help you put into proper perspective what you are capable of and what you should be doing, transitionally. Because if you look at your ancestry and you trace back and you notice that where your ancestors are from, your immediate ancestors, if where they're from, that the diet was horrible, then you're going to need to calculate that when you're planning out your transition, to maybe transition a little slower, maybe go a lot slower. Like some of the raw vegan folk, raw fruitarian people that's falling off the wagon going into Liver King land, they needed to go a lot slower. They probably needed to do the cottage cheese type of slower, because that there's they couldn't handle that. There's a level of filth and degeneracy of the body that requires transition. And we're at different levels. We doing different, going in different paths. But sooner or later, everybody, there's going to go through some elimination. And then you start to notice, like, oh, it doesn't matter how raw the nuts are that you're eating, And even then, there's not a lot of nuts that you can eat raw. You have to soak them. You still got to prepare them. Create mucus in you though, and you notice it if you as you clean yourself out, you eat these nuts and you're like, you're getting all that mucus in your throat. It starts gumming you up. Your uh, bowel movements aren't as good. The bowel movements are slimy. Avocados are good for that too. The avocado people, that really like swear by the avocados, and that's their mucus. That's the stimulation that the folks, if there's like, well, I'm trying to be 100% raw, and then it's like the avocado lifestyle, and that's cool for a minute, but then if it starts gumming up the works, and if you're somebody that's not into the enemas, now you're having problems because that slime residue is going to start giving you problems. And then on top of that, you got your walnut tacos and your so on and so forth. Again, perfectly fine under the right circumstances or transitional. But first, you got to know the transition methodology, or that's not going to be helpful. And so we got quite a bit of work to do. We got a lot of work to do as humans, but we got a lot of work to do. Is all I can say. And we gotta clean ourselves out. And let's see. Lunar said, "What about fructose and glucose in fruits? Then would cause illness too?" No, you're talking about in a filthy, constipated body that hasn't transitioned, because you get cases, and you deal with the transition diet. Arnold Ehret doesn't even recommend somebody eat. Like, listen to this. Arnold Ehret doesn't even recommend raw fruit for the first couple months, or the first, or the first few weeks, or I think it's the first month, where essentially you'd be eating cooked fruit. Why? Because it's much less aggressive. It's a less aggressive mucus-free dissolver of mucus. But that's a level you're only going to get here. That level of sophistication of transition diet, baked bananas, baked apples, stewed apples, steamed apples that you make into applesauce, and having that as a daily staple for a period of time, that's Mucusless Diet Healing System. Practice. Because you're going to get that nowhere else. That, and to incorporate that in with the broom salads. But when you start talking about where they've done that, where they try to take the complex carbohydrates and all the refined sugars and all the mess, and made that the scapegoat. Say, sugars are bad. Sugars are not fructose. Not if you're cleaned out. Yeah, if you're filthy and it's too aggressive, then yeah, maybe you need to go a period of time where you're cleaning yourself out with vegetables only. And I've worked with people like that. We've only had where people had to deal with the real slow transition where it was hard for them to handle fruit. That's a real thing for some people, but it's a very small number of people that can't handle fruit. But that's one of those things that and Eric points it out, even back in the day, that ends up killing people. You got folks that have sugar metabolism issues, have trouble because of and the degeneration that caused that didn't come from fruit. The inability to be able to process sugar because of compromised glands and organs, that didn't come from fruit. That came from acids from the dead animal flesh, from the wheat products, from the starches. That came from the pus and the mucus, the forming foods, the acid forming foods. And so, that's what do we got here? Oh, we got one of these Let me see if I can delete this. I hate when we get the we get these I don't know if it made it disappear. Report it if you see some spam or something in there. Go ahead and report that. But yeah. So we gotta start to understand when you can get to the foundation of human illness, it's pus and mucus poisoning, the eating of pus and mucus forming foods that creates the initial degeneration, the initial compromising of the pancreas, of the adrenal glands, of the thyroid, the acids that might burn and damage the cells associated with those glands or those organs. That didn't come from sugar. That didn't come from eating an apple and an orange. That came from eating liver and hot dogs and pizza and white bread and drinking milk. That's the initial degeneracy, the initial constipation, a clogging up of the entire pipe system of the human body. That's the foundation of human illness. We just say we solved it, but people are so far away from getting on the path, and most people get here too late, and there are points of no return, unfortunately, where if you don't get here soon enough and the disease degenerates to a certain level that you can eat all the fruits and the vegetables you want and you can cleanse, but you might not bounce back. So my encouragement to you is to get it together. If you're somebody that has sugar metabolism issues, you gotta, if you study deep enough, then you gotta clean yourself out. Then maybe take some more advanced steps, and then you get into, well, what do you do to stimulate and re-energize the adrenal glands? That's when we can start having our herbology discussion. But you can't, but I don't get into all that because there's so many people, everybody and their brother talks about that. No one talks about what we're talking about here, the transition, dealing with the system. And so that's what I leave you with today, is that this is about transition. You don't need to be hard on yourself. This isn't about absolute. Let go of the absolutism. You need to be 100% this or 100% that, or you're even trying to analyze the percentages of things. I never did any of that. Brother Air never did any of that. You deal with the system, and you do it by eating. You're eating. You're not perpetually fasting all the time. You're eating, and you're eating the transitional foods, and you're cleaning yourself out. You're getting the lemon juice, distilled water enemas. I know somebody asked about that. If you're interested in that, then you're going to want to, like I said, go on my channel. We have a how to do lemon juice and distilled water enema post and video. You can check that out. So again, I want to invite everybody to the end of this month. In less than 2 weeks, July 30th and 31st, we have the 4th annual Professor Arnold Ehret Day celebration. And we are going to have a whole lot of fun this year. And I just, if you are at all, if you're available to come, you're thinking of coming, click the link. I'm going to go ahead and share this in the chat. Click the link. Get you a ticket before the ticket price rolls up. Go on ahead and get yourself a ticket. Come and join us at the Ehret Day celebration. We're going to have a whole lot of fun, and really, and this is a chance to see me in person, see Brother Air in person, ask your questions. If you got some questions, there'll be a time for where we, answer some questions and we're hanging out or we're doing that kind of stuff and we're able to plug in. But really, it's about that the plugging into the energy, because you can't do that. There's a limited amount of plug in. It's good to watch the videos, keep watching the YouTube videos, but it's not the same as being there in person and hitting that plug in, And so join us. It's a lot of fun. I definitely invite you to come on through. And then also, my battery's about to die for the Instagram people. I thank the Instagram folks for tuning in. I know it was only a few of you guys, but we tried an experiment today, and but now also, if you're not able to make it to the Eric Day celebration, we do have the fundraiser is still going on. We had shared that link a little earlier. If you want to donate to and there's a number of different perks, different levels of donation. So you can definitely do that. And that is greatly appreciated still. But if you want to get a little deeper, if you got some questions for me, come to the free event on Tuesday. We got the Remove Mucoid Plaque, Burn Fat, and Create Godlike Immunity, Eating Mucus-free webinar that is happening on this Tuesday at 6:00 p.m. Eastern Time. Sign up, join us. And I'm going to, at the end of it, we have a Q&A session where I sit and I answer everybody's questions. And there's some questions that even came up here that I can't answer on YouTube. Some stuff gets too deep, too hot for YouTube. And so I'm not able to talk about those topics here, but I get into everything there at the webinar. So come. And if you haven't been to it or you haven't been to any of our programs like that, you're in for a treat. And so take this opportunity. I don't know how much more, if at all, I'm going to be doing this particular presentation. So sign up, come and join me. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'll show up again. Ignore the date. That's an old one. It's going to be July 19th in 2 days. So the link is down in the description. I think the link is pinned probably somewhere. It's all over the place. You can find the link, sign up, join us on Tuesday at 6:00. And we're gonna have a good time. We're gonna have a good time there. So that's about all for me today. I think we covered. I lived up to the title of the program today. I think to avoid ending up in a body bag, eating the pizza, eating the raw dead animal, drinking the homogenized and genetically manipulated milk, cow piss, and just avoid the body bags, avoid the hospital room, avoid the surgery table, avoid the hospice, avoid laying in a hospital bed with a loved one holding your hand as you struggle to get one last breath, to fill your lungs up with enough oxygen to try to clean your blood, to try to oxidize that blood. Avoid all of that. Remove that out of your life. Clean yourself up now. Don't wait until later. Don't wait, and don't be one of these people. I meet so many people that are older that learned about and first heard about the Mucusless diet when they were young, back in the 1970s and 1960s. And they all say the same thing. I wish I would have did it. I wish I would have stuck with it. And some of them say, I wish your material would have been out back then, because I might have did better with it in terms of transition. So this is real. This is real life. We're in a situation where they have created, meaning the marketers and the corporations, the protein agenda, the calorie agenda, just the nutrition agenda overall, the sick care agenda. It's not health care. It's a system of sick care. So they've created all of that, all based on pus and mucus eating. And so it's time to make a change. Time to make a change. Time to clean ourselves up, clean humanity up. We got some work to do. But what else is there to do? What else is there to do? So clean yourself up. That's it. Clean yourself up. Let's start there. Start with getting clean, clean yourself out. And then let's figure out the rest. But first and foremost, we got to clean ourselves up. So thank you so much for tuning in. And again, I hope to see you Tuesday, 6:00 p.m. Eastern time. That's New York time. And I know if you're like in England, that's probably like 11 o'clock. I know it's a little late, but hey, come join us. Because another good thing is the cleaner you get, the less you sleep. At least that's been my experience. And so the less you sleep, the more you live, the more conscious you are. I know that goes against what everybody says. Oh, you got to get all the sleep. You got to get your 9 hours and all this kind of stuff. All right. I mean, sleep as much as you want. I'm saying I would rather not have to sleep as much and enjoy more conscious time than the unconscious. But that's just me. But I like being awake. I love it. I never get bored. I love it. So again, I thank you guys so much. Truly do, for plugging in. We had a nice, I look at how many people is watching over here. Had a nice group of people plugging in. Really appreciate everything. And Fowler says, thank you, Dr. Spiro. I thank you so much for tuning in, and I really appreciate it. And until next time, peace, love, and breath.
We are mucus free. 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 We are mucus free.